So welcome to Module 3 of the Ambassador Workshop. I really believe that this module is going to be very significant to what we are going to do and embark later on during the workshop, the visioning exercise. And so here's the challenge that we have. So we are being told you need to be a leader, but none of this is ever taught to us while we are in graduate school. And it is so important for us to be an effective faculty, a faculty that is going to learn to listen to our students, but also to listen to each other. So you saw already, from the previous module, the Empowered Team, that there are essential skills that they were covered, skills that they are very important for the growth and the learnings that we're going to be together. So what we're going to cover today is facilitated leadership and how important that is in the concept of change and in the content of communication. So how listening, dialogue, and negotiation can lead to collaboration and synergy. And we're going to define some of these things. And we know, by the way, notice in the slide that it talks about change, and also it talks about the diversity of views. So everybody, we're faculty, we are trained to be critical thinkers, to question things. And at times we question so much that sometimes we don't even achieve anything when we are coming together. So today we're going to particularly focus on the concept of shared vision, synergy, shared leadership, and team learning. That is so important, when we come together to collaborate. So we practice. What we encourage people to do is to share the learning outcomes. I'm not going to go through all of them, but noticing here that we have measurable verbs in there, define and look at the value, understand the value, describe and foster. Those are things that we're going to basically spend today throughout this particular module. So a shared vision requires team learning. So what is that? What is team learning? You heard about it in the previous module. Team learning is when we come together, collaborative, to achieve a common vision. So a shared departmental vision becomes reality through team learning. The team learns together, so we're going to learn. Remember, learning is changing behavior. So there are some behaviors that we have to change. And what is it that we want to do? Create results, better results. And we're going to look at communication skills, and we're going to do a really cool exercise so that we can learn together how to be active listeners, and the people that are around us. And that's so important for facilitated leadership. Now, so there are going to be skills and there are going to be outcomes, and notice that there is a number of skills that we're going to touch a little bit today. Active listening, dialogue, we're not going to spend a lot of this, but there's going to be stress. Now, you heard about created tension, and there's going to always be tension. But we need to learn to be flexible and to stay open to idea, because the outcome of that is going to be that together, we're going to achieve a better outcome, a better result, and also we're going to practice inclusiveness. Now, let me mention that we're going to be using, your facilitator is going to provide to you a collaborative tool, that online you can go and jot down ideas. And the first one that we're going to do is about leadership. What are the quality of good leadership? So what I want you to do is to stop the video right now and then go to that collaborative tool and jot down your ideas. So great. So now you have the ideas. Let's visit some common assumptions that people talk about leaders. And you have heard about this. Leaders are born, not made. In reality, leaders develop, and they develop over time, and they develop and respect others' leadership. Leaders have charisma. What does that even mean? Well, charisma gets your foot in the door, but it doesn't keeps you there. So you have to learn to really look into synergy. So leaders focus on building power, and you see that even in our own institution. You see that in our department, in the college, in the institution. Really, leaders ask what others need and help them get there. A leader rallies people to a better future. Leaders take charge Leaders share wisely and constructively. You hear this. It's really very lonely at the top. Of course it is, because you don't listen to other people. We don't listen to other people. Leaders always know how to lead. Actually, leaders grow, and we grow. We make mistakes, and I love leadership. I've been studying leadership for over 20 years, and again, this is something that we don't learn when we are in graduate school. So this takes us to the next level. So what is it we are trying to do? We're trying to be a facilitated leader. So who is a facilitated leader? What is a facilitated leader? So what is it that they do? They really facilitate the development of all the outcomes that are going to be listed, in the next slide. So a facilitated leader, facilitate share vision, ownership, so important. You're going to work in a vision. There's some people might not be present, during this workshop. So are we going to share with them so they can own to the different ideas that are going to emerge during the exercise? Team learning, shared leadership, synergy. We're going to look more into that. The importance of empowerment at all levels, not just full professor, associate professor, but everybody, plays an important role in the department. And again, the importance of communication and collaboration. So I want you to stop the video and go to the collaborative tool provided by your facilitator and jot some ideas about synergy. How do you define synergy? So now that you have done that, all right, I want you to think about this. 1 plus 1, so you're into math, this is going to drive you crazy. 1 plus 1 is not always 2. 1 plus 1 is actually 3. There is power when we come together. The third alternative is much better than your alternative and my alternative. In other words, our alternative. What does that mean? Well, a facilitated leader promotes synergy. And what that means is that the synergistic groups or teams are more than the sum of the parts. Outperform the best individual. And here's the thing, do we agree all the time? No, but we learn to disagree wisely to be successful and manage created tension. So another thing that is important in the concept of synergy is that synergy requires flexibility and also inclusion. There are different ideas, and I know that we have been talking about throughout this many years about the importance of diversity of views and inclusivity. It's not just about ethnic diversity, but also diversity of ideas. We have to learn to include everybody, bring everybody to the table and listening to what they have to say. There is power. I encourage you to look into the work of Scott Page and the importance of diversity, in developing new ideas. Because through synergy, we learn to empower people. So why is empowerment so important? What is it that we accomplish through that? Well, what we accomplish is that empower team member, a leader who empowers, team members, accesses personal power plus the collective power, authority and influence of the team, engages other people in the organization. There are ideas that can emerge from other departments that is going to help in your vision. Is supported and encouraged by wise leaders and the team, and seeks mutual beneficial outcome. This is powerful when it comes to empowerment. And again, there are people that may not be in the tenure track in your department, but they play a very important role. Do we empower them, to make the decision? Also, how do we combine these two concepts, empowerment and synergy? Well, the importance of empowerment to synergy is that it bridges the gap between self and others. Believe in open and constructive dialogue. We're going to expand more of this in a minute. And we learn to be flexible and respect other people's views. And the stress, you and I know that the stress and how to manage this tension that is created when we begin to think about, okay, what's next for the department? There are challenges in there, all right? So let me recap the idea, okay, is that facilitated leaders facilitate all this list of ideas that you see on the screen. I'm not going to go into them, but I do want to focus on the last two ideas: communication and collaboration. All right. So the facilitator and the team and the ambassador is going to provide you with a role play that we have done, to learn about listening with empathy. All right, listening with empathy. And let me just share quickly this idea. We're going to capture some. When we listen with empathy, we listen with intention to understand. All right. So again, stop the video and go to the site where the video is provided, and we're going to debrief some of the things that we learned from the video. So I love cartoons. All right. So I wanted to share. I'm sorry I wasn't listening. Can you repeat everything you said since you started working here? So notice that this is not just during that time, but from the beginning. And you know that sometimes people are not really intentional in listening. So I want you to think now and go back to that role play, to the things that you captured from the role play. What do you observe about listening with empathy in the role play? What is it that you observe? All right. And I want you to think about this. All right. That there were certain steps that the performers, were doing. They were setting the stage, and they were there. All right. They were not looking at their phone. They were there in person. They were asking probing questions, and they were getting to the heart of it. Really, it should be, I'm a neuroscientist, it should be to the brain, but in reality, the heart, the emotional part of things. Paraphrasing, because shows that you're listening. Pause. Allow enough time for the person to share their idea, their concern. Find out the facts. Make sure that you really understand and ask what would be best. Sometimes we're ready to give solution to the problem, but many times those solutions, when they come from the person that you're listening to, it makes a big difference. And then review the next step and allow for more communication to happen. Now think about this. What are the benefits of empathic listening to you, to others in the situation? What else? So again, stop the video and jot down the ideas and the collaborative tool that has been provided to you. So communication is so important for constructive dialogue. Again, your group is going to engage in a vision exercise, and they're going to be challenging things that are going to be said. Can we stop and say, okay, did I hear this from you before you judge? So listening with empathy and without judgment. Get information into the open. Develop a common understanding. We are here for the student. We're here for the department. We're here for the faculty as a whole. Break ideas and differences into manageable pieces, and begin to develop synergy based on shared information and understanding. Now, a concept that is so important in this idea of collaboration, communication, is something that I learned many years ago. A great book I highly recommend you, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it's the idea of win-win. Now, let me share something with you. Effective relationship require mutual benefit, but at times we're not going to get a win-win. But it's really bad when you go into a situation and you say you're going to lose, I'm going to win, or you're going to win, you're going to lose. Emotionally, that is really heavy. All right. So the idea of the win-win is, the attitude is, I'm going to go into this conversation and I'm going to have a win-win attitude. So it is possible to seek the benefit of others as well as my own. And interdependent collaboration is more effective than independent competition. All right. So we're not going to compete with each other. We are in the same department. We have the same student. We want to advance what we want for the great of the department, because we're here. We're going to work together. So this is really important. This idea of competition is a big deal in academia. Sometimes it's a roadblock for us to move forward. So how does facilitated leadership achieve this outcome? It does it by fostering opportunity for collaboration, team learning, inclusivity, and change. So let me share a last thought about change that I share with my own students, and colleagues. People change when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. So yeah, change is hard, but staying the same can be harder. So I hope that you take into heart and your brain what you have learned in Module 3 and begin to apply as we embark in the visioning exercise in your department. Thank you.